The Chicago Bears said they wanted to add speed into their linebacker room, and they've definitely done that by signing undrafted free agent Power Echols out of North Carolina. Can he actually make the team, and what could he bring to the Chicago Bears? We'll talk about all that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the page. You do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. As I said, Chicago Bears go out and they sign Power Echols out of North Carolina, linebacker, and he's going to be able to come in here and try and compete for a spot on this team, a spot in which the Chicago Bears are looking to not only add depth, but to replace that Jack Sanborn spot. And what Dennis Allen essentially said about it was that he wants this linebacker room to get faster. He wants guys that can not only be intelligent, but have the speed and the athleticism to get downhill. Of course, we know Jack Sanborn was the ultimate genius on the football field, just kind of diagnosing everywhere that he needed to be. And you know what? I see a little bit of that with Power Echols. Now, 5'11", 230 pounds, right? I can't sit here and praise him for his size and weight. I think he is an undersized linebacker here. But the one thing about him that really stands out is he is an absolutely aggressive player. He's got a high motor, never stops. His sideline to sideline range is absolutely exceptional. And I think that's what really stands out about this young man. He flies to the football at just about every turn, which is why you saw him in college compile over 306 total tackles in his college career. He had amazing closing burst speed, and I think that where he really stood out, especially at North Carolina, was shooting the gap and running down ball carriers just pretty much with ease. It was essentially really impressive to see how quickly he was able to get to ball carriers, not only just being able to chase them down, but also diagnosing the call pre-play, knowing where to be, knowing what position to be in. I think that he has a ton of instincts that really just scream out on the page whenever you see him. And listen, he shows really, really good play recognition on just about every single play, and he's extremely decisive versus the pass. I mean, like when you watch this guy's tape at North Carolina, not only is he coming away with interceptions, he had 4 interceptions throughout his career, but the coverage upside to me, despite him being a smaller linebacker, I think was really, really surprising. And I'm talking about getting the hands up late, just like a DB would, right? Knowing to turn the head around, knowing to get the arms in the air, being able to break up on the football, being able to diagnose, okay, this is where the receiver is going to be. I need to meet him there so that he doesn't go the wrong direction here or turn this into a big play. Multiple times in North Carolina, you saw this young man be able to go out there and save a touchdown, not only just by his speed, but also by beating a wide receiver to the play. And I think that's something, right? When you talk about undrafted free agents, when you talk about those guys that have to come in later and make a name for themselves, that's really what you want to see, right? You want to see the pre-play diagnosis. You want to see an understanding of what they're looking at, right? You want to see an understanding of the system that they're in and knowing, okay, if this is how this play is supposed to run, I need to be here before this guy gets there. Now, at every turn, is he right in the perfect position? No, I'm not going to say that, right? I think that there are times where the size just, it's football, right? At a certain point, it doesn't matter what position you're in. It doesn't matter if I'm in the perfect spot. It doesn't matter if I'm coming in late. It doesn't matter if I'm getting there early, right? 5'11", 230 pounds. There's going to be players that just can get a hold of you. I think that was one of his weaknesses in college, dealing with some of the block shedding, dealing with, having to deal with some of the linemen that he was going up against, right? Listen, the size plays a part into that. Essentially, there are running backs coming out. In fact, I believe we also signed a running back, which we'll talk about on the channel as well as we go through all the undrafted free agents here. But there's running backs out there who come in at this size. And so it's going to be tough sometimes where it feels like he uses a lot of his athleticism to try and go out there and make tackles at certain moments. And because of that, right, you get these lunging motions, you get these jumping motions, you get him trying to chase people down or meet them at the point of attack. And he ends up falling the other way on the tackle, falling the wrong way, allowing yardage to be gained because, right, of the fact that 5'11", 230 pounds. I also think there are times where he's just a little bit too over aggressive in his approach to the game. Essentially, right, sometimes he'll over pursue on a play, and that will get him out of position because I know where the play is going to be. I know how the play is going to end up. I have the speed to get there immediately, gets there, and sometimes over pursues because he's going too fast, can't get back on the play. There's a couple of times where even taking false steps on play fakes, getting caught over the top, right, causing him to abandon his gap coverage or causing him, you know, to be at his responsibility in coverage or wherever it is prematurely, which just gives the quarterback a sign. Okay, listen, now I know he's there. Now I need to wait for the play to develop here. I think that is something, though, that I remember how Yurko talked about Ariante Ursary, where he said it's you need to turn him down a little bit, right? You got to turn the feet down. This is kind of how this feels with Power Echols to me, because to me, like, when you look at a guy who's knows what a play is, knows how to diagnose it, and it's just like, hey, but you got to know the patience. You got to know when to get there. You got to bait the quarterback into getting the ball to you. I think that the upside in coverage could come there, but you got to turn that down just a little bit and make sure that he's not giving away what he's seeing already. I think that this young man has the intelligence and the knowledge. I don't know about the size. We'll see about the size, but clearly we see, right, Dennis Allen drafted a player in the 4th round, and Ryan Poles, I should say, Dennis Allen and Ryan Poles, drafted a player in the 4th round who is very similar to this. This is a style of linebacker that they are looking for, somebody who's intelligent, somebody who has the coverage skills. I think that, to me, he's got much better coverage skills than Ruben Hippolyte III. I actually think that if you're projecting out on if you should have drafted one player or the other, I would have been less confused if you had drafted Power Echols. But at the end of the day, right, the bottom line comes down to, are you going to be able to make it in Dennis Allen's system? And I think him being fast, him being instinctive, I would assume that he probably ends up playing the will because of size and speed. I think that he's more of a in a 4-3 scheme. He's kind of a nickel linebacker right now in some sub packages. I think that his speed does help him, and his urgency will help him on an NFL field, and that will allow him to get in on certain plays that just make a lot of sense. I think it also allows him to be a really impactful player on the special team side to earn a spot on this roster. I don't know if he's going to be somebody who we're talking about down the line by the time training camp gets here at the end, and we're sitting here going, oh yeah, this guy makes perfect sense. I can't believe that we found this gem here. But I will say, when you look at his game, when you look at his instincts, right, very similar to what we said about Jack Sanborn. He if you know where to be, if you know how to get there, if you know how to diagnose the play, there's usually a spot on the field for you. And this guy has all of those intangibles along with the speed to get there. I'll be very interested to see, you know, what he is early on in his career. And if he can carve out a role for himself in the NFL, I think there is a point where you could be talking about him as a 3-down linebacker in the long run. But hey, let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I mean, I think right now he's more of a sideline-to-sideline guy, a guy that you can use in some speed packages and different things like that. I think that he does make sense to bring in for what Dennis Allen is clearly trying to add to this defense, and we'll see if this young man is able to make a roster. Let us know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down to talk with you guys as well. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.